Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the 143 here on a very rainy day in College Station. We are coming to you live from the studio.
Post AFC and NFC championship game, kind of giving you a Super Bowl preview. Things we saw this weekend and what we're looking for, I guess, in 2 weeks.
Unfortunately, the Eagles got lucky again with Brock Purdy going down in the first drive, actually. And they were able to get another easy win in the playoffs. Imagine that. And they're going to the Super Bowl. So that just made our blood boil yesterday. And then the Chiefs snuck a win at Arrowhead to beat the Bengals for the first time. Joe Burrow, Mahomes finally won that matchup for the first time. They're playing each other. So it was an exciting weekend. Well, there was only one exciting game, but we'll get into it, though. We're here to talk about it and bring you some facts and what Nick said, some things to look forward to for the Super Bowl this year. All right, with your stat of the week brought to you by Andrews Logistics. Christian McCaffrey now has a touchdown in 9 straight games. 9 straight, ladies and gentlemen. He was the only touchdown for the San Francisco 49ers. But, man, was it a touchdown run. And I am not giving you a stat about the Eagles because that's not what we do here on this show.
Absolutely. And your player of the week was Patrick Mahomes. He completed 29 of his 43 passes for 326 yards and threw 2 touchdowns, all while doing that on one leg.
Man, he was suffering from a high ankle sprain. You could see it was bugging him the entire game, but he just pushed through it and in the end used his legs to get the job done.
Please rest up. And
we need him.
Be back to 100%. Do whatever it takes to beat the Eagles. I am begging you.
So, Nick, what did you see?
First off, let's just go ahead and get right into it.
Let's just dive into it.
All right, we'll talk about the Eagles-49ers game first, just because that's what bothers us the most right now. And so I would like for the Jalen Hurts hype to officially, stop. Because
wish that would happen.
You can't throw 121 passing yards, have no touchdowns, and then expect to be hyped up like you're all that. Dak would have gotten absolutely ravaged by the media and everybody else in the community.
And rightfully so.
Rightfully so. I'm not trying to put Dak above Jalen, but it's just like, let's look at this through the same lens that we're judging Dak with. Because, yes, they won the game, but the only reason they won the game is because, for one thing, the 49ers defense was just making so many mental errors, and then it was penalty after penalty. I believe one of their drives came in the third quarter when they got a touchdown. A third of the yards that they got were due to penalties on the 49ers. So they basically gave them a third of their yards. And Miles Sanders had 2 touchdowns. Boston Scott had a touchdown. Jalen had a rushing touchdown. I mean, they just beat them with the ground game.
I mean, it was a good win, I guess, on the Eagles' part. But they were playing the 4th-string quarterback of San Francisco for the whole entire game until Brock Purdy came in with a broken elbow at the end. So, I mean, defensively there wasn't much going on.
Brock Purdy still couldn't throw because he had nerve damage in his elbow. So he couldn't throw down the field. It was just these short, check down passes. And so you just have to – all you do is stop McCaffrey and that's it because all they could do was run it.
Exactly. It wasn't exciting because the starting quarterback went out in the first drive, and that's when you knew the game was kind of doomed from that point because not only was he the starting quarterback, but he was the former 3rd string, so that means the 4th string's probably not going to be that good. And so the Eagles did what they needed to do. I mean, it wasn't like rigged or anything, but, I mean, they did get kind of lucky with that, and they took advantage of it. It's frustrating.
Just very frustrating because how did the 49ers manage to hang on, and then all of a sudden when they play the Eagles, in comes the 4th string and the defense collapses?
It's also frustrating because the Cowboys could have put up a way better fight against the Eagles than that.
Oh, absolutely.
And obviously we couldn't get the job done in San Francisco to be in Philly, so that was frustrating to watch as well, just thinking about that. But all in all, that game was a letdown, but the Eagles are in the Super Bowl, and they're playing the Chiefs. So I think that's enough said about that game. The Niners will be back next year, and they're gonna be a force to be reckoned with here in the next few years for sure. So we'll definitely see them again.
I guess the only thing is the quarterback conversation for San Fran.
Yeah, what do you do?
You have a dilemma on your hands. You've still got Jimmy. I don't think he's going to be the starter. I think it's going to be between Trey Lance and Brock Purdy because they made it clear that they wanted Trey to be the guy at the beginning of the season. Well, he got injured, and then you got this third stringer, Brock Purdy. He comes in and puts on an absolute stellar performance.
Well, not only did he get injured at the beginning of the season, but his first few games that he played,
he wasn't
pretty
good.
bad.
He was awful.
Yeah, so a lot of those games they lost were on him.
Absolutely. I mean, and Brock was undefeated.
Brock was undefeated
up
until
the
yesterday.
NFC. He took him to the NFC Championship. Still, I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah,
for a third string quarterback.
That is.
So I'm just
Dak
excited to
take us
see
to an NFC
what happens in the QB room for the 49ers this upcoming offseason because they've kind of got some stuff to figure out.
They really do.
But they'll be set. No matter.
I would like to have their problems. See, we don't have their problems. We have real problems.
Whatever they do, they're going to succeed. They have a sound team. All their guys are coming back. If they choose to go with Brock Purdy, they'll be great. So I think they're set either way. Now, for the Chiefs-Bengals game, there was a lot of speculation.
That was a very hyped up game, too.
Because Travis Kelce was having back issues in practice on Friday, so there was speculation. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Everyone knew Patrick Mahomes was playing, but the speculation there is what, I guess, level of play are we going to get from him because he got injured last week against the Jaguars, so we know he's not 100%. Can he perform? And I can confidently say yes, he can and did.
He did really well for having an ankle sprain. So he didn't always look very great because of that ankle sprain. He was not able to press off his was it front leg, so he wasn't able to follow through with the motion of throwing. So there were a couple throws that he just never would have missed if he was fully healthy.
He was just throwing off one. He had no power on his throws because he couldn't get any momentum from his lower half, right? And then he couldn't roll out because he couldn't run on his right leg. So he's just basically sitting back there and slinging it all arm. And he figured out how to get it done. I mean, everyone knew that Mahomes was good, but I mean, he's good. Absolutely.
I just think it's the Eagles' luck that Mahomes is going to be playing at 50% in the Super Bowl. I just think that's how it goes with the Eagles. I really hope that Mahomes takes his time to rest, to at least get to 80% because Mahomes is the Chiefs, and without Mahomes, the Chiefs will lose that game.
Absolutely.
And their defense played okay against the Bengals, but that defense is probably going to get turned around by the Philly has a really good RPO kind of defense where you don't know what they're going to do.
It's essentially kind of the opposite of the Bengals because the Bengals, their strength is their wide receiver room.
Absolutely.
And they have a decent back. And the Eagles, it's kind of the opposite. They have some good receivers, but their strength in recent weeks has been in their running back room. Like we've seen Boston Scott pop off, Kenneth Gainwell, even Miles Sanders.
Yep.
All three guys are getting touches and getting a decent amount of yards. So I think it is going to come down to the defense because if Mahomes is out there, he's going to do great and he's going to dice up the defense because that's just what he does. But it will come down to can the Chiefs' defense do anything to stop the Eagles?
It will be an interesting Super Bowl to watch, and I think it'll all depend on how healthy Mahomes is. I'm tired of the underdog narrative for the Eagles, though. I'm absolutely tired of it. They have not been underdogs all season, okay? And Jalen Hurts keeps saying that he's not at 100%. He's fine. He's not hurt. Mahomes has actually got an ankle sprain. He's limping around the field. And Jalen Hurts is over here acting like they don't have the most talented team in the league. The Eagles are a very good team. They're the most complete team in football right now. And so I don't want to hear anything about an underdog narrative, okay? They haven't been underdogs all season.
I mean, you know what proves the fact that they're the most complete team is they can beat a team 31-7 with their quarterback only throwing for 121 yards.
He hasn't gotten over 200 yards in like 3 or 4 weeks.
When your quarterback throws for 121 yards, you expect the script to be flipped.
Exactly.
You're expecting yourself to lose.
123 yards
31-7.
is like pretty easy to do in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's just a few completed passes.
I mean, Cooper Rush was doing a little more than that just about every game he played.
Exactly.
I'm not saying he's better, but I'm just saying, like, it's not that impressive.
I just wanted to shut that narrative down, okay? In this game, the Chiefs are the underdogs because their quarterback is playing on one leg.
Going back to what you were saying about the underdog narrative and Jalen Hurts claiming to be injured, and everyone's like, oh, I would hate to see him at 100%. Like, stop it.
He is at 100%.
He is at 100%. He had that shoulder deal. He came back. He's fine, okay?
He's averaging, like, if he wasn't at 100%, he wouldn't be averaging, like, 35 rushing yards a game. Like, if he wasn't at 100%, he'd just do what Patty's doing, which is sitting back in the pocket and trying to make a throw.
Absolutely.
So, he's okay. The Eagles are going to be fine. I'm definitely worried for the Chiefs because, obviously, we're huge Chiefs fans now for the next couple weeks.
Absolutely.
Just like, we were huge Bengals fans last year. So, we're riding with the Chiefs for the Super Bowl. It's going to be a really good game, I think. But I'm just hoping it's not another blowout. The thing with the Eagles that you have to do is if the Eagles don't get up early, they struggle. You can't let them get up like 21-7 or 14-0 early in the game because that's when they are good at holding their lead.
Their downfall this season was they got caught behind early, and then they were never able to recover because they just weren't used to playing from behind. Like, that's what Washington did.
Yep.
And, I mean, what we did was we just kept it close to them. It was almost a shootout.
Right.
Basically, Dak was continuing to respond. But the Chiefs, I think you're right. You just have to find a way to jump out early. That's why if you, let's say, hypothetically, you receive the opening kickoff as Kansas City, you got to go down and score 7 points. Like, you have got to go down and just set the tone, punch them in the mouth.
I'll be honest.
Let them know what's up.
I feel like if Kansas City wins the coin toss, they should elect to receive and go down and score first.
Because there's going to be so much hype around the Eagles' defense and
you need
this,
to set
that,
the tone.
and the other, and you need to just shut that up real quick. Opening drive.
And Philly's been there before. Or, sorry, not Philly. Kansas City's been there before. So they have a little bit of experience. I mean, they've been there twice now in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was going to say Mahomes has been there, so he understands the pressure. Kelsey's been there, so he understands the pressure. So does Andy Reid and a lot of those other guys.
I'm not too
on the
worried
Chiefs
about
team.
their offense, to be honest with you. It's their defense. It's going
absolutely.
to kind of be a little scary. But I think the Chiefs do have a good shot. It'll be kind of an evenly matched Super Bowl, to be honest with you, not because of the quarterbacks. Like we've said before, Patrick Mahomes is way outplayed Jalen Hurts this season.
He's leagues better.
But the team itself, the completeness, I think the Eagles have the better offensive weapons and than the Chiefs, and I also think their defense is a little bit better. But the Chiefs just have that experience and that confidence right now. The Bengals kind of messed up because, I mean, they played an okay game, but they went before the game. They started talking about how it was Burrowhead Stadium and talking about how they aren't impressed with the Chiefs at all. And they're just doing all this trash talking. Like, even the mayor of Cincinnati got involved. And I think that was just a mistake to do before the game because it made Mahomes really mad. And so he played at an elite level with a high ankle sprain. You don't make, like, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time mad. I just don't think that's smart. It's kind of like making Brady mad. You just don't do it.
Yeah, it was just all hype to the game. Like you said, with the Burrowhead Stadium, and then even from the Chiefs' side,
That's
asked
true.
Chris Jones. They were asking him what scares him about the Bengals offense, and he's like, nothing.
I mean, there was a lot of trash talking and hype going on in that game, and it was exciting to watch.
And I think that's what made it a little bit better, is because now everyone was looking forward to it.
I think also one of the things that kind of affected the game yesterday was the weather. It was hitting people's hands. It wasn't sticking because it was so cold. They probably couldn't feel their hands very well. It felt like 4 degrees on the field. So the game will be played at Arizona, which is indoor/outdoor if they want, but the temperature will be just right. So there's nothing in the way. No excuses.
Thing from that game was people were complaining about the refs.
Yeah.
I mean, there's multiple calls I think you can make. Obviously, The big one was at the end, the unnecessary roughness.
Well, they got that call right.
Yeah, they got that call right, but I'm saying that was the big one that ended the game. And then the other thing was I saw that play in particular. There was a blown holding call, and then the play before that, there was a block in the back on the Sky Moore punt return.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I think there is possibly a case for the refs blowing the game. I'm not going to go as far to say
It was not
rigged
It's not
or
rigged.
scripted, but yes, I do think there were some blown calls.
I think it would have helped the NFL's ratings and money-wise if the Bengals had won that game. There's just so much hype around Cincinnati. So I don't really think it was rigged. I feel like it would have just been better if the Bengals had been in it.
What my biggest problem was, officiating-wise from that game, is I believe it was the fourth quarter, and it was the play. It was a 3rd and 9, and Mahomes, it was a little dump off to Travis Kelce, and so it was 4th and 6, right?
Right.
And so the punt team comes on for the Chiefs. They
Yes.
spot the ball. They move it to 4th down. You know, the ref spots it. Everyone goes off, and then all of a sudden, the refs come together, and we're like, wait, somebody blew the play dead, right? Because apparently they were trying to fix the clock, but they let it run, right? Spotted it, and then moved on to the next down. And then they wanted to go back on it and say, we didn't fix the clock. And so they redid the 3rd and 9, and they ended up getting the first down, right?
Yeah.
And
That was
so
weird.
everyone was having a problem. Like, are you trying to just
Give
the
Chiefs
games
the first down.
to the Chiefs? Like,
They didn't get the first down. They got a pass interference.
they got a
flag.
pass
Yeah.
interference call, and that essentially gave them
So
the
they
first down.
did
But
give
it
them
should
the
have
first
been
down.
a 4th and 6. And then
They
the
went down the
Chiefs were
score.
obviously going to punt the ball away, but then the refs kind of came back and said, no, we actually messed up. But
That
my
was
thing
a
was,
confusing
if
play.
you let the play go, then I think it should count. Like, as
Yes.
if the coach called a timeout after
They
the
didn't
play
blow
happened.
a whistle. They didn't blow
right?
the play dead. I don't think
You
it
look
should have
at
counted.
both of the line judges and the umpire. It took the dude that was like 30 yards downfield.
Yep.
Everyone else was set, ready for the play to go, and then one guy tries to come screaming in and blow the play dead, but everyone else was letting it go.
I think they should have let that play go, too. I think that was a mistake on their part.
Well, it's
That
just
did
like-
give Kansas City a touchdown, so that's why there's a lot of debate there right now.
In my mind, it was the same as the coach calling a timeout. You know, it's like he didn't get it before the play, so you don't have it.
Yeah, exactly. I've never seen that happen where they've redone a play. They didn't even blow the play dead, so that was questionable. But I think the Chiefs-Eagles matchup will be exciting in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs-Bengals game was good. The Eagles-Niners game was not, obviously. But we have your Super Bowl matchup for this year now, and unfortunately the Eagles are in it. And so
I was more worried about the Bengals-Chiefs game because that determined who I was rooting for.
right, same here.
Right. Obviously, I
Same
wanted
here.
the 49ers to beat the Eagles and then lose in the Super Bowl.
But we knew that wouldn't
You know,
happen.
why would we ever get that lucky?
No, exactly.
I mean, it's just frustrating as a Cowboys fan because the Eagles won it in 2017, completely ripped apart their franchise, right? Dumped everybody, tore the whole team apart, rebuilt it back up, and now they're in the Super Bowl again in 2023.
It is frustrating. It's too soon. I mean, it will always be too soon, but it still feels too soon to see them in there. So we're going to have to deal with that, but we will be rooting hard for the Chiefs over here at the 143, and I know Ian will be as well.
I mean, I was just saying that to say, like, maybe the Cowboys can take notes from that. Like,
No.
the Eagles, they were horrible after they lost the Super Bowl.
I
so
wish.
What'd they do? They kicked everyone out, rebuilt it from the ground
I
up,
wish
and
we would.
figured it out.
I really
And now
do.
they're back in the Super Bowl. But we don't do that.
Sean Payton's still
We just
floating
ride
there.
it out
Mike's
with
not
every
leaving.
single guy.
He's actually calling the plays now. We don't have to talk about that this
That's
week,
right.
but Kellen Moore has left the Cowboys, like me and Nick said should happen, but they gave the play calling to Mike McCarthy, which is not what we were talking about at all. So that will be interesting.
One last thing from the Bengals game. So Joseph Asai was the dude that got the unnecessary roughness, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just frustrating to see that happen because from the couch, it's like you fool. Like, how can you
Yeah, why
do
would
that?
Why would you
Why
hit
would
him
you
after
hit
he's
him?
already out of bounds?
When in the reality of the situation is, it's like heat of the moment,
It's a bang-bang
adrenaline's
play.
pumping, he's running full speed, trying everything. He's not really paying attention to the out of bounds. He's just trying to tackle the quarterback. And so it was just a heat of the moment play. I don't think it was intentionally dirty. I think he was just caught up with
Mahomes had just gotten out of
the
bounds.
adrenaline of the
It was just
moment.
one of those late hits, and it was unfortunately the one that put him in field goal range.
And to say that, I was going to also point out he went out with 5 total tackles, 3 solos, and 1 tackle for loss. But the unfortunate thing is he won't get remembered for any of that.
Nope.
He will get remembered for...
I mean, he can make up for it next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But
there's always next
unfortunately, what he'll get remembered for is getting an unnecessary roughness that put the Chiefs in field goal range, ultimately ended the season.
Yep.
So, here as we like to end our shows on Under Review, I have brought to you a quote. And this is a quote that I found that actually ties in to what we were just talking about like 2 seconds ago. Okay? This is a little bit different of a quote. Okay, this is from Dale Earnhardt. Okay? The Intimidator. He said, "You can't let one bad moment spoil a bunch of good ones." And I want
true.
Mr. Joseph Asai to remember that, okay? Don't let this one bad moment spoil a bunch of good ones that you had.
They had a great season.
You're a great player.
They had a great season.
Your defense stepped up. You will be back.
Well, they will be
Okay.
back. This will be Burrow
Don't
versus
sweat it.
Mahomes for a while now. But we have your Super Bowl matchup, Eagles and Chiefs. Go Chiefs. And we'll be looking forward to that here in a couple weeks. But thank y'all for tuning in this week to Under Review, and we will see y'all next week.